In the vast silence of the Kuiper Belt, Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the ESS Nightshade, her eyes fixed on the distant glimmer of Earth. The massive stealth vessel, nearly 2 kilometers long, drifted silently among the icy debris, invisible to all but the most sophisticated human sensors. The year was 2457, and humanity had kept its greatest secret for over a century. Status report on the Dominion scout vessel, Chen commanded, her voice steady, despite the tension coursing through the bridge. Lieutenant David Ross's fingers danced across his neural interface, pulling up a holographic display that showed a sleek, arrow-shaped ship moving through the outer solar system. They're maintaining their search pattern, Commander. Their sensors are sweeping for conventional radio signals and primitive fusion emissions. Just as our intelligence predicted, they're looking for early space-age technology. Ross allowed himself a small smile. They have no idea they're flying right past a phase-shifted quantum drive. Chen nodded, her short black hair catching the soft blue light of the holographic displays. Humanity had learned of the Dominion Alliance's existence decades ago, when their first quantum listening posts detected faster-than-light communications between alien vessels. Instead of announcing themselves, Earth's united government had made an unprecedented decision. They would watch, learn, and prepare. The Nightshade's AI, Diana, manifested as a subtle pattern of light in the air beside Chen. Commander, I'm detecting increased tachyon emissions from the scout vessel. They're preparing to transmit their report back to Dominion space. Show me their transmission pattern, Diana. The AI complied, generating a complex web of quantum signatures. Chen had studied the Dominion's communication protocols for years during her training at the Solar Defense Academy. She could read their patterns almost as easily as English. They're reporting nothing of interest, Ross translated, his neural implant processing the alien data streams. Just another primitive system with pre-spaceflight civilization showing early industrial development. Chen allowed herself a moment of pride. The massive holographic arrays orbiting Earth were performing perfectly, projecting the image of a world still burning fossil fuels and launching chemical rockets. Meanwhile, beneath that carefully maintained facade, humanity had achieved technological advances that would shock their would-be conquerors. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, in sprawling underground cities, quantum forges produced materials that violated what the Dominion considered possible. On Europa, beneath kilometers of ice, energy reactors harnessed zero-point energy in ways that would make Dominion scientists question their understanding of physics. And in the asteroid belt, hidden shipyards constructed vessels that combined human innovation with science that reached far beyond anything the Dominion had achieved. Message from Solar Command, Diana announced, her light pattern shifting to a more formal configuration. Director Santos is requesting an update on Operation Silent Watch. Chen straightened her midnight blue uniform, adorned only with the simple silver insignia of Earth's combined defense forces. Put her through Secure Quantum Channel. The holographic image of Director Elena Santos appeared in the center of the bridge, her dark eyes sharp and focused. Commander Chen, your last report indicated the Dominion scouts are becoming more frequent. Has there been any indication they suspect our deception? Negative, Director. If anything, they're becoming more convinced of our technological inferiority. The latest scout didn't even bother to approach closer than Neptune's orbit before beginning their survey. Their arrogance is working in our favor. Santos nodded, but her expression remained grave. The Security Council has reviewed the latest intelligence from our deep space probes. The Dominion is expanding more aggressively than ever. They've subjugated 3 more civilizations in the past standard year alone. Sooner or later, they'll decide Earth is ready for uplifting into their alliance. Both women knew what that meant. The Dominion's version of uplifting involved forced technological integration, cultural assimilation, and complete military subordination. They claimed to be spreading civilization, but in reality, they were building an empire of slaves. The 7th Fleet is ready, Chen assured her superior. The moment they make their move, We can have 500 ships deployed from hidden bases across the solar system. The new quantum shift drives are performing beyond expectations, and the AI integration with our neural networks has reached 99% efficiency. Let's hope it's enough, Santos replied. Because according to our long-range quantum sensors, the Dominion is assembling a larger force than usual in the Proxima Centauri sector. They might be preparing for more than just another routine survey. Chen turned to gaze out at the stars again, her reflection ghostly in the transparent aluminum viewport. Humanity had spent a century preparing for this moment, advancing their technology in secret, building their strength in the shadows. They had watched the Dominion consume world after world, learning from each conquest, analyzing their tactics, and developing countermeasures. If they come, Chen said firmly, they'll learn that humanity isn't as helpless as they believe. We've had 100 years to prepare our welcome. As if in response to her words, alarms suddenly blared across the bridge. Diana's form flickered with urgent patterns. Commander, the scout ship has altered course. They're approaching Jupiter's orbit. Energy signatures suggest they've detected something unusual in the quantum background radiation. Chen's muscles tensed, but her voice remained calm. Sound General Quarters. Notify Solar Command that we may have a situation developing. It seems the moment we've prepared for might be arriving sooner than expected. As the Nightshade's crew moved with practiced efficiency to their battle stations, Chen reflected on the weight of humanity's decision a century ago. They had chosen patience over pride, preparation over immediate retaliation. Now that patience might finally be tested. The game of deception was approaching its end. Soon, the Dominion would learn that they weren't discovering Earth. Earth had discovered them long ago. And humanity was more than ready to demonstrate just how dangerous underestimating them could be. High Marshal Vexthor stood on the command deck of the Dominion warship Inevitable Victory, his scaled hands clasped behind his back as he watched the holographic display of the Sol system. After 50 cycles of military service, he had overseen the integration of 17 primitive civilizations into the Dominion Alliance. This system would be his 18th, a routine operation that would cement his legacy before retirement. Status report on the human defenses, he commanded, his translator converting his sibilant native tongue into the Dominion's standard communication format. Sub-Commander Krell manipulated the display, zooming in on Earth's orbital space. Primitive satellites in low orbit, my Marshal. Chemical-propelled spacecraft near their moon base. Their most advanced weapons appear to be nuclear-tipped missiles. Nothing that can threaten even our smallest vessels. Vexthor's facial scales rippled in amusement. Another simple integration operation. The humans would be suitably impressed by their ships, surrender quickly, and join the Dominion as properly subservient members. Begin the approach. Standard formation. Broadcast the submission protocols on all frequencies. On the ESS Nightshade, Commander Chen watched the Dominion fleet's approach with calculated patience. 12 warships, arranged in their predictable diamond formation, moved past Mars with their shields lowered and weapons powered down. They weren't expecting any resistance. They're broadcasting, Commander, Lieutenant Ross reported, his neural interface processing the incoming signal. Standard Dominion integration demands. Submit or face immediate military response. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Send the response we prepared. Let's see how they handle a surprise. Across all frequencies, in perfect Dominion standard format, Earth's message played. Dominion vessels, this is Earth Defense Command. We have studied your empire for a century. We have watched you conquer and enslave. We decline integration. Withdraw immediately. On the Inevitable Victory, Vexthor's amusement turned to confusion. They responded in proper Dominion format. Impossible. Our scouts reported no signs of advanced communication technology. Before he could process this anomaly, his tactical officer shouted in alarm. Multiple energy signatures appearing across the system. Massive power readings. By the first ones, where did these come from? The space around the Dominion fleet suddenly filled with ships appearing from quantum shift, their hulls gleaming with an alloy the Dominion had never encountered. The ESS Nightshade decloaked directly above the inevitable Victory, its 2-kilometer length dwarfing the Dominion flagship. "All ships, execute Operation Revelation," Chen commanded. Diana, the Nightshade's AI, synchronized with every human vessel's tactical systems. In perfect coordination, quantum-shifted weapon ports opened across the human fleet. "Impossible," Vex Thor whispered as his tactical displays showed hundreds of human vessels surrounding his small fleet. "Their technology, it's beyond anything we've seen. How did we miss this? This is your final warning." Chen's voice echoed across all Dominion frequencies. "Your scans show we possess technology far beyond your current level. Withdraw now, or we will demonstrate our combat capabilities." Pride overcame Vex Thor's shock. In 50 cycles, he had never retreated, never failed to complete an integration. "All ships, battle formation. Show these deceptive primitives the power of the Dominion." Chen shook her head at the predictable response. "Very well. Diana, initiate combat protocols. Demonstrate pattern Alpha 1. The human fleet moved with impossible precision, their AI-enhanced neural networks allowing crews to react at quantum speeds. As Dominion energy weapons fired, human ships simply phased out of normal space, the attacks passing harmlessly through their previous positions. "Their shields," Krell reported in panic, "they're operating on principles we don't understand. Our weapons aren't even registering impacts." The demonstration lasted exactly 3 minutes. When it ended, half of the Dominion vessels hung powerless in space, their systems overridden by human quantum intrusion protocols. The others remained intact but surrounded by swarms of autonomous defense drones that could tear through their hulls in seconds. Chen opened a channel to the inevitable Victory. "High Marshal Vex Thor, your ships are disabled or contained. We could destroy your entire fleet, but that's not our way. Instead, we offer you a choice. Return to Dominion space with proof of our capabilities, or remain here as our guests while we demonstrate more of our technological advantages." In 50 cycles of military service, Vex Thor had never faced such a decision. His scales had lost their luster, his proud posture diminished. You planned this. All of it. The primitive facade, the hidden fleet. For a century, we watched you conquer those who couldn't resist, Chen confirmed. We learned from each of your victories, developed countermeasures to every tactic. You never found us because we didn't want to be found until we were ready. The silence that followed was broken only by the subtle hum of quantum drives. Finally, Vex Thor spoke, his voice heavy with the weight of revelation. "I will return to the Dominion Council. They must know, must understand what exists out here." "A wise choice," Chen responded. "Remember what you've seen today. Humanity has no interest in conquest, but we will not be conquered. The next Dominion fleet that enters our space will not receive such a gentle demonstration." As the defeated Dominion ships limped away, their cores barely functioning after the human cyber assault, Chen turned to her crew. "Send word to Solar Command. Phase 1 is complete. The Dominion now knows we exist, but they don't yet understand what they're facing. Prepare for Phase 2. We're taking the initiative to their territory." The first battle for humanity's independence was over. The war for the galaxy's future was about to begin, and humanity had just shown they were more than ready to change the balance of power forever. The Dominion's primary shipyard at Nexus Prime was considered impregnable. 3 rings of automated defense platforms surrounded the massive construction facility, while a fleet of 40 warships maintained constant patrol patterns. High Command had doubled the security after High Marshal Vex Thor's disturbing report about Earth's capabilities, but they still believed their core territories were safe from human interference. They were wrong. The ESS Nightshade and 5 other quantum-shifted vessels had been hiding within the shipyard's security perimeter for 3 days, gathering intelligence and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Commander Chen watched through the quantum-shifted hull as Dominion workers assembled their latest dreadnought, completely unaware of the human ships floating mere kilometers away. Diana, Status update on Operation Shattered Crown, Chen requested, her voice barely above a whisper despite knowing the Dominion couldn't detect their communications. The AI's response came through the neural network shared by all human crew members. Phase 1 proceeding as planned, Commander. Our synchronized strikes across 12 Dominion systems have drawn off 60% of their mobile reserve forces. Nexus Prime's defensive fleet is now at minimal strength. Lieutenant Ross's avatar appeared in the shared neural space. Commander, the quantum analysis of their new dreadnought is complete. The Dominion's attempting to replicate some of our technology based on Vex-Thor's sensor data. They're not even close to understanding the principles involved, but the attempt confirms they're taking us seriously. Chen nodded, watching as another work crew passed through her ship's seemingly empty space. The quantum shift drive didn't just make them invisible, it placed them slightly out of phase with normal spacetime, allowing solid matter to pass through them harmlessly. It was one of many technologies humanity had developed during their century of preparation. All ships prepare for synchronized attack, Chen commanded through the neural network. Remember, this isn't just about military assets. We're here to send a message. Diana, begin broadcast preparations. Across the shipyard, Dominion workers and security forces went about their routine duties. In the main control center, Facility Director Ixel reviewed production schedules and security reports. The first warning they received was a massive quantum surge that their instruments couldn't identify. 6 human warships materialized simultaneously at strategic points throughout the facility. Before the defense platforms could react, quantum-shifted weapon systems disabled their targeting arrays. Swarms of autonomous drones emerged from the human vessels, surrounding key structures and defense positions. Chen's voice echoed through every communication system in the facility, translated perfectly into all Dominion languages. Attention Nexus Prime personnel. This facility is now under Earth Defense Force control. We have disabled your weapons and communications. Remain calm and follow instructions. Director Ixel stared in horror at his tactical displays. Somehow, the humans had bypassed every security measure, every early warning system. How? How long were they watching us? Long enough. Chen's voice responded directly through his command center speakers. Your security protocols haven't changed in 50 years. We've had plenty of time to study them. Throughout the shipyard, human forces moved with precision that seemed impossible without central coordination. What the Dominion didn't understand was that every human soldier and crew member was connected through their neural network, sharing information and coordinating actions at the speed of thought. Diana managed these connections, allowing hundreds of people to act as a single, perfectly orchestrated unit. Security teams are standing down, Ross reported through the neural link. No casualties on either side. Quantum encryption teams are accessing their databases now. Chen allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. This was why humanity had waited, had prepared so carefully. They could have launched devastating attacks, but that wasn't their goal. They wanted to demonstrate not just superior technology, but superior strategy and ethics. Begin Phase 2, she ordered. Download their technical databases and begin quantum broadcasting to all nearby systems. The broadcast that began streaming from Nexus Prime's communication arrays reached hundreds of Dominion worlds. It showed human forces taking control of the most secure facility in Dominion space without firing a shot or causing a single casualty. More importantly, it showed the fear and resignation on the faces of Dominion military personnel as they realized how completely they had been outmaneuvered. You're not just broadcasting the takeover, Ixel realized as he watched the feeds. You're showing everyone our weakness. We're showing them the truth, Chen corrected. The Dominion maintains power through the illusion of invincibility. That illusion ends today. Throughout Dominion space, similar scenes were playing out. Human forces struck simultaneously at key military installations, research facilities, and command centers. Each strike was precisely calculated to maximize strategic impact while minimizing casualties. It was a display of power unlike anything the galaxy had seen, not through destruction, but through the complete negation of the enemy's ability to resist. In the Dominion's Central Council chamber, reports flooded in from across their territory. The humans hadn't just defeated their forces, they had made those defeats visible to every species under Dominion control. The message was clear. The age of Dominion supremacy was over. Send word to Solar Command, Chen instructed as her team secured the last sections of the shipyard. Operation Shattered Crown is proceeding as planned. The Dominion's military infrastructure is compromised, and their subject species are watching. Tell them to begin preparations for Phase 3. As she spoke, Diana detected the first transmissions from nearby systems, not from Dominion forces, but from subjugated species who had watched the broadcasts. They weren't calling for help against the humans. They were asking for liberation from the Dominion. The balance of power wasn't just shifting. It was about to shatter completely. On the crystal-spired world of Arxis, home of the technologically gifted Arvani species, centuries of Dominion control were unraveling in a matter of days. The quantum broadcasts from Nexus Prime had sparked something that even humanity hadn't fully anticipated: hope. Commander Chen stood in the Grand Assembly Chamber of the Arvani High Council, her holographic presence transmitted through quantum entanglement from the Nightshade. The chamber's crystalline walls reflected her image countless times, making it appear as though an army of human commanders addressed the gathered council. For 300 years, your people have been forced to develop weapons for the Dominion, Chen said, her words automatically translated by Diana into the musical tones of the Arvani language. We offer you something different: partnership, not subjugation. First speaker Lyra, her translucent skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns of excitement and anxiety, gestured with all four of her arms in the traditional sign of deep contemplation. The Dominion's fall seems inevitable now, but what guarantee do we have that Earth won't simply take their place? Power corrupts, as our history has shown. Chen's response was immediate and firm. We could have destroyed the Dominion's military infrastructure. Instead, we disabled it. We could have eliminated their leadership. Instead, we exposed their weakness. Earth doesn't seek to rule. We seek to free. In orbit above Arxis, Lieutenant Ross monitored the quantum feeds showing similar scenes playing out across dozens of worlds. The Dominion's subject species were rising up, not with violence, but with a simple refusal to continue serving their oppressors. Commander, he reported through their neural link. The Centaurians have just declared independence. Their orbital defense grid is now under local control. The news brought a slight smile to Chen's holographic face. First speaker Lyra, you asked for guarantees. Look at what's happening across the galaxy. Earth could have taken control of these facilities ourselves. Instead, we're returning them to their rightful owners. We don't want an empire. We want allies. Lyra's skin rippled with patterns that Diana translated as cautious optimism. The Arvani remember what it meant to be free. We remember when our technology served creation rather than destruction. If what you say is true, if Earth truly seeks partnership. She was interrupted by an urgent message. The Dominion's response to the growing rebellion had finally begun. A massive fleet was assembling at their capital, preparing to crush the uprising with overwhelming force. They're desperate, Ross analyzed, sharing tactical data through the neural network. They're stripping their core worlds of defenses to assemble this fleet. If they fail here, they'll have nothing left. Chen's hologram turned to address the Arvani Council directly. The choice before you is simple. Stand with us now, combine your technical expertise with our quantum technology, and help us end the Dominion's tyranny forever. Or remain neutral, and watch as the galaxy transforms around you. The chamber erupted in a dazzling display of bioluminescent communication as the council members debated. The Arvani had been developing weapons for the Dominion for centuries, weapons that had helped enslave other species. Now they had a chance to atone for that legacy. Lyra raised all four arms, her skin glowing with a pattern of unanimous decision. The Arvani stand with Earth. Our weapons forced others to kneel before the Dominion. Let our technology now help them stand again. Within hours, Arvani quantum engineers were working alongside human technical teams. Their centuries of weapons research, combined with Earth's quantum technology, produced innovations that neither species could have achieved alone. What had taken humanity 100 years to develop in secret was being revolutionized in days through true cooperation. The Dominion fleet will reach the outer colonies in 48 hours, Ross reported as Chen's hologram returned to the Nightshade's bridge. They're expecting to face scattered resistance from rebellious slaves. Instead, they'll find united worlds defended by combined human and Arvani technology. Chen nodded, watching as more reports of liberation flowed in from across the galaxy. Send word to all allied worlds. The Dominion believes they're putting down a rebellion. Show them they're facing a revolution. The next 48 hours saw the greatest technological collaboration in galactic history. Arvani crystal matrices enhanced human quantum drives. Centaurian energy systems merged with Earth's phase shift technology. Species that had been kept deliberately separated under Dominion rule discovered their technical capabilities complemented each other in ways that seemed almost designed by fate. Commander, Diana interrupted Chen's review of the latest tactical updates. We're receiving a priority transmission from the Dominion capital. It's being broadcast on all frequencies, directed specifically at you. The message was short, but carried the weight of centuries of history. Commander Chen of Earth, I am High Chancellor Vax of the Dominion Alliance. In our 1,000-year history, no force has accomplished what you have achieved in mere weeks. I request a direct meeting. Perhaps there is a way to end this without further conflict. Chen shared the message through the neural network, gathering instant feedback from her crew and the growing alliance of liberated species. The response was unanimous. Send our reply, Diana. Tell the High Chancellor that we accept, but the meeting will be held on Arxis, in the presence of all species affected by this conflict. The future will be decided not by Earth or the Dominion alone, but by all sentient beings in this galaxy. As the message was sent, Chen looked out at the stars visible through the Nightshade's quantum-shifted hull. Humanity had emerged from hiding to find they weren't alone in their desire for freedom. The galaxy was changing, not through conquest or dominion, but through the simple power of cooperation and hope. The final confrontation was approaching, but its nature had already transformed. This was no longer just humanity's stand against tyranny. It was the galaxy's revolution against the very concept of empire. The crystalline spires of Arxis shimmered under the light of 3 suns as representatives from 50 formerly subjugated species gathered for what would become known as the galaxy's constitutional convention. The Nightshade hung in high orbit, its quantum-shifted hull now visible as a gesture of trust, while Arvani defense platforms maintained a peaceful watch over the assembled diplomatic fleet. Commander Chen stood in the Grand Assembly chamber, this time in person rather than as a hologram. Beside her, First Speaker Lyra's skin rippled with patterns of anticipation. High Chancellor Vax of the Dominion had just arrived, his personal shuttle escorted by both human and Arvani vessels. Your message has been received, Commander Chen. Vax announced as he entered the chamber, his ceremonial robes notably devoid of traditional Dominion military insignia. Though I must admit, this is not the negotiation I expected. Because it's not a negotiation, Chen replied calmly. It's a transformation. Diana, show them. The AI projected a massive holographic display above the assembly. It showed real-time feeds from across the galaxy, former Dominion worlds where different species now work together, combining their technologies and cultures in ways the Dominion had always forbidden. Arvani crystal tech merged with Centaurian energy systems, enhanced by human quantum physics, all working in harmony. In 3 weeks, Chen continued, these allied worlds have achieved more progress than the Dominion enforced in centuries. Not through conquest or control, but through cooperation. Vax's scaled face showed genuine surprise as he studied the data. This level of technological integration, we always believed different species would create chaos if allowed to freely interact. You believed wrong, Lyra's translator chimed. The Arvani were forced to create weapons when our true genius lies in communication technology. The Centaurians were restricted to energy production when they could have revolutionized medical science. Your empire didn't create order, it stifled potential. Through her neural link, Chen received updates from Lieutenant Ross aboard the Nightshade. The last holdout Dominion worlds were watching this gathering via quantum broadcast. The Empire's carefully maintained image of supremacy had been replaced by evidence of what free cooperation could achieve. Your empire stands at a crossroads, Chen addressed Vax directly. The combined fleet assembled by Earth and its allies could dismantle the Dominion completely. But that's not why we're here. We're offering a chance to be part of something greater than an empire. Diana projected a new hologram, plans for a galactic cooperative, where each species would have equal representation and the freedom to pursue their own path while working together for common progress. The structure was elegant in its simplicity, built on principles of mutual respect and shared advancement rather than hierarchical control. Impossible, one of Vax's advisors muttered. The logistics alone are already solved, Chen interrupted. Human quantum networks, enhanced by Arvani crystal matrices, allow instant communication and coordination across the galaxy. Centaurian energy technology, combined with our phase shift drives, makes distance irrelevant. Together, we overcome barriers your empire thought were absolute laws of nature. Vax stood in silence for a long moment, his gaze moving from the holographic displays to the assembled representatives. Species that had been enemies under Dominion rule were now working together, achieving what his empire had declared impossible. The Dominion was born from a belief that order required control, he finally said, his voice heavy with realization. We were wrong. You've shown us a better way. The next 12 hours saw the drafting of the Galactic Concordat, not a peace treaty, but a framework for a new kind of civilization. The Dominion would dissolve, its worlds free to join the new cooperative or choose independence. Technology would be shared, not hoarded. Progress would be measured not in territory controlled, but in problems solved together. As the historic document was being finalized, Chen stood at a viewport, watching ships from dozens of species moving peacefully through arcs of orbit. Diana's presence manifested beside her. An interesting solution, Commander, the AI observed. Humanity could have become the new dominant power. Instead, you chose to build something entirely new. Because we learned from history, Chen replied. Every empire eventually falls. But cooperation, true partnership, that can last forever. Lieutenant Ross approached with a final update. The last Dominion military installations have begun their transformation into research centers. The quantum broadcasts reached every inhabited world. The change is happening faster than anyone predicted. Chen smiled, remembering the century humanity spent hiding and preparing. They had emerged not to conquer, but to catalyze. The galaxy was entering an age of unprecedented cooperation and discovery. Send word to Earth, she instructed Diana. Operation Silent Vanguard is complete, but our real work is just beginning. The stars aren't our destination anymore. They're our partners. As the Arxis sun set, casting rainbow light through the crystal spires, representatives from across the galaxy continued their work. They were building something that had never existed before, a civilization based not on dominion over others, but on the simple, powerful truth that different peoples working together could achieve things that no empire could match. Humanity had hidden for a century, preparing not for war, but for this moment of transformation. They had emerged not as conquerors, but as catalysts for change. The age of empires was over. The age of cooperation had begun.